Now let me orient today's purpose of having this sort of session, as I believe that all of you must be well aware of that for what purpose are we meeting today. So we will be discussing today the 2020 prelims paper of UPSC. So I, Amit Sinha, welcome all of you to Kavish IAS classes. So Kavish IAS has taken this very remarkable and very appreciable effort of discussing the question papers with all of you, because I personally believe that the very first step towards the preparation of this examination is to know about the questions and the question papers and the syllabus for which you are going to prepare. Therefore, according to my perception, that I do believe and I do congratulate Kavish IAS to actually provide this platform for all of you to interact with the experienced faculty like me and others also, in fact, to discuss with you the entire question papers, because very few institutions are actually so much of you can say concerned about the career of the students. They are more concerned about money minting processes, etc. So therefore, this I believe is one of the very appreciable efforts undertaken by the institute for all of you, and it is going to, I would say, create a long-term impact in your entire career and also in the entire journey of your preparation. Fine, because you also don't know when are you going to qualify, but definitely whenever you will qualify this examination, whether in 2021 or 2022 or 2023, whatever, you will remember this day forever, because this is something which is going to let down your foundation in the context of understanding the demand of this examination, and also understanding the psyche of the examiner, or the orientation of UPSC, in fact, that what UPSC has been expecting from the candidates. Because normally what do? We simply prepare without even thinking for or of, in fact, of the UPSC exactly that what do they need and what are they expecting from a candidate. Whatever we feel that it is correct, or rather what is being said to us it is correct, we actually follow those guidelines and those, you can say, feedbacks to orient our preparation. But this session that we are going to conduct today would give you that sort of insight which would bring your preparation on the right lines and right tracks, in fact. As yesterday only I mentioned to many of you who were there in the class regarding the importance of reading a newspaper. Similarly, today's session is going to add more values in your overall preparation for civil service examination. And I must thank to Kavish IAS that at least they have taken this sort of initiative. I would say also a sort of a pain in terms of organizing this sort of session for all of you without bothering about their pure commercial interest, because normally an institute is known for only for their commercial interest. And you guys are already mature enough to understand all these things. So there's nothing to say something on that, but you have a fair idea about it, that what others do, what the big sort of names they do in the name of providing the coaching. So they do provide coaching. I don't say that they don't provide coaching. Of course, they do provide coaching, but the coaching being provided by them is actually more oriented towards monetary gains, rather to see you as a successful candidate or see you as a successful officer. Now it is something which is an outcome of the entire process, that generally a candidate gets success not because of those institutes which are more or less involved in money making process. They, of course, they succeed due to their sheer hard work and the dint of their knowledge, their guidance of their seniors, their elders, their parents. But definitely the institutes try to take all the credit in their name. However, they had not been so serious about your success. Let me tell you one thing very clearly. So at least here Kavish IAS is taking that sort of pain for all of you to make you realize the importance of this sort of session. Now see, this session is now available on online free of cost also. I mean, I believe that even if you are so aware of about the UPSC paper and you have already seen the paper, or you may have also seen many of the institutes coming out of their explanations, etc. Now, definitely these things are already available in front of us. But what is not available, that is the guidance through the question paper, or the guidance through the discussing the question paper. They can discuss with all of you about the questions and the answers, but they will not discuss with all of you the sources from where the questions have been asked, because even they do not know the exact sources from where the questions have been asked by UPSC. And that is exactly the difference between majority of the coaching institutes and the Kavish IAS, in fact. So of course, you guys should be thankful to Kavish IAS to organize such kind of session. And I believe that such sessions should be organized more frequently. In fact, at least once in a month, definitely such sessions are required, where we can have a chit chat with each other regarding our strategy, regarding our concerns and our problems, and also about the doubt clearing sessions, etc. So for that, of course, I would say that Kavish IAS is known for that. In fact, they are not only working for completing your courses, but also they are providing you the other assistance, like doubt clearing sessions are already going on. This sort of session has been organized today. So I believe this is one of the most ethical institutions that is available right now in entire West Bengal. All right, so that's what actually is the benefit of having this particular platform for all of you. So having said that, let us now discuss about the paper of 2020 now. All right. See, I will begin with the question paper of 2020, and I'll actually let you know exactly the sources which actually have become now quite favorite of UPSC in terms of asking questions from different subjects. So today you will come to know about all those things one by one. But before going to that, let me simply inquire about that. How many of you had written this examination this year? Any one of you who has written the exam in 2020, that is on 4th of October, prelims?
Yes, sir, me.
Freddy, okay.
Yes.
All right. Anyone else?
Yes, sir, I did, sir. I give the exam.
Deep, great.
Yes.
Deep, good. Then, apart from Deep and Afridi, anyone else? Yes, none of you. And majority of you would be writing your exam which year? 2022 or 2023 or 2021?
2022 or 2023, either one.
20 to 22, sir.
22.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how many of you will be writing the exam in 2021?
सर मी सर
बोल रहा हूँ कि वो तुम्हारा नेट प्लान है, मतलब प्लान है, प्लान दिया।
Okay. Fine, fine. Now see, the good number of guys are coming, attending this session in between. So again, I would like to repeat it. So of course, I got an idea that only 2 of you have written this examination this year, and majority of you will be writing the exam either in 2021 or 2022. All right. One thing you just do, I mean, all of you, I'm requesting that you can mute yourself, and unless and until I don't ask you to unmute, or
Yes,
rather
sir.
you don't unmute yourself. Otherwise, it actually becomes quite disturbing for me to speak out. However, I can also mute all of you together, but the point is that you can maintain discipline on your own self. That's much better. See, what I was trying to explain to all of you is the idea that since a couple of you have written the exam, so you must be having a fair idea what kind of questions were asked and what was the level of questions that was asked, in fact. See, the level of questions, according to me, because I've been observing this examination for last more than 20 years, in fact. So according to me, this would be considered as one of the toughest papers set by UPSC in 2020 prelims. All right, and since it has been a toughest paper, so therefore the cutoff would be expecting to be quite low, and it would be varying between let's say between 90 to 95. There could be plus minus 2 for the general category students. So if you're scoring, let's say above 90 plus, in fact, then definitely you stand a chance to qualify the prelims examination, and you will get a chance to also write the main examination. And someone who's actually having above 95, then they should be always 110% assured they will be getting the license to write the main examination. So that is one aspect that you have to keep in mind. And on the other hand, if you belong to, let's say, EWS category or maybe OBC category, then in that context, your cutoff would be slightly lower than what is for general category. So it would be around maybe 87 to 90. So between 87 to 90 would be the cutoff of the OBC category. And between 85 to 87 would be the cutoff of the EWS category. So that is what actually going to be the cutoff for the EWS, OBC, and the general category. And for the SCs and STs, the cutoff would be between 75 to 80 itself. All right. So that is going to be the cutoff for the prelims of 2020 examination. Fine. So that is what you have to keep in mind. I mean, for this year's prelims. But as far as the last year prelims was concerned, the cutoff was also somewhere around 98 for the general category students. All right, and last year's prelims was not. I mean, I would say it was not tough, but it was not tougher than this year's prelims. So this year's prelims questions were tougher than last year's prelims. That is the basic point. So that's the reason why you have to understand that that even last year the prelims was not so tough. Still, the cutoff was 98, in fact. And this year's the prelims is relatively tough, so definitely the cutoff is going to be slightly down. So it would be less than 95 for sure. So that's what actually would be the first and foremost analysis of this year's prelims. Fine. Now, as far as the number of questions are concerned, that is equally very important for all of you to understand. See, in this year's prelims, UPSC has tried to maintain a balance in terms of asking the number of questions. I am now sharing one small screen for all of you to understand it. I hope now you are able to see this.
Yes, sir.
You're able to see this screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So just a moment, just a moment. There's some technical glitch on my part, so let me correct it. Now, see, I mean, this is the analysis of the previous year civil service preliminary examinations. You can find out from yourself itself that, I mean, what was the analysis of last 3 years? I mean, let's take an example of 2018-19, and then I'll also discuss briefly about 2020. So in 18-19, you can see the number of questions of geography, environment, and history, polity, etc. Even economy around 16, then general science around 7, current affairs around 28. Now that's what is in 2018. Then again in 2019, the number of questions for geography was somewhere around 14, then environment 11, and then again history 17, polity 15, and economy 14, science in 7, and this current affairs 22. Now that was the pattern of questions of 2019. Now what is there in 2020? So in 2020, these numbers have almost gone changed. In fact, see the number of questions of geography has come down. In fact, in 2020, the number of geography questions has come down to less than 10. In fact, there's around 8 to 9 questions purely from geography. Then similarly from environment, the number of questions actually have gone up relatively. So it is now more than 14, 15 questions for environment. Fine. And in history, of course, number of questions are more or less 17 only, 16, 17 only, in fact. Then in polity, number of questions again 17. All right. And then economy, number of questions have slightly gone up. It is somewhere around 20. All right. So 19, 20 questions have been asked from economy section. The general science number of questions is relatively between the same, 8 to 10 questions. That is from general science. And from current affairs, not more than 2 to 4 questions are from current affairs. So number of current affairs questions actually have gone down, and that's what actually has been seen in last few years. You can see if you have to prepare current affairs, you can see 17 onwards, number of questions of current affairs are declining. In fact, 34, 28, 22, and now this year it is not even more than 5. All right, purely from current affairs. So now say this is what actually is the brief analysis of the prelims question paper. Now having understood that, let us now see the question paper of 2020. And that would be, of course, a better exercise to now discuss the paper of 2020 in the light of the last few years of pattern analysis of prelims examination. Fine. So let me now share with all of you the question paper, in fact. I hope the question is now visible to all